So the next step, I think, is to change our average temperature or our time line chart so that it doesn't show the average per day, but more. I would like to see how the temperature is actually changing during the day. So, for instance, if I were to look at the date of, let's just say, the 10th of December, it's not going to just show one measurement, which is an average for the whole day, but I will actually get a line chart for the whole day. But the problem right now is that Power BI is only showing the date as no, it's only showing the time measurement as a year, month, and day. So I would like to include the time of the day, like the clock or time of the day. So let's do that. And in order to do that, I need to include the clock and get that as its own column or data from this data source. So I'll go into the Power Query and press Edit Query. As you can see, I have opened the query or the data source called temperature outside. That's the only one we have included so far. And as you can see, if you look at the second column, measurement time, the timestamp, we can see that the data shows, the temperature to exactly that timestamp. So at the 8th of November 2023, at the time of the day was 10:56, 60, sorry, 60, 56, sorry. The temperature was 23. Um, but when I'm in Power Query, it's like as if the clock or the time of the day is getting ignored or it's not a part of the data. So what I will do, I will duplicate this one, and I can do that by right clicking on the table or column, sorry, or I could press this one tab called Add Column, and I could press Duplicate Column. So if I pick it or I choose it, I press Duplicate, we'll get initial new step where it's duplicated, and my next step will be changing the format of the date. So what kind of data type is this? Power BI has already preset it, and if we look through the initial step, actually, when the data comes in, it's the time is being showed in a different way. It actually changes by itself to something that we can understand. But now I would like to change the data type again, and I can do that by pressing this upper left corner. This means what kind of data type is it. You can see this is a ABC, that's a string. This is a date and clock. You can see that. This is a number. It could be a floating number. It could be a digital number. It could be a whole number. But yeah, you see this is a decimal number. And this one, if I press this one and I press time, you can see that now the date is actually removed. And let me just rename it and call it time of the day. Or, yeah. So now we have a column called time of the day. Yeah. And just being for being as as yeah, I would also like to change this one. I would like to duplicate it one more time and do another column which only shows the date, and I will use that for later. So I will press date here. So now the actual clock is not a part of it, and I'll change this to the date. So in this way, I have the original source, you could say, data, but here I have divided it into time of the day and the date. So let's go back to Power BI, and just before that, just see that actually I've added some extra steps. So everything I've done here, it's actually copied. And this means, it's pretty neat. It means that every time I update, refresh my data from my API, this all these data is going to get treated the same way. So it will actually know exactly what to do. And this last one is actually the thing that's going to get loaded into Power BI. Okay, so I press close and apply. So after you've finished loading the data in, it can take a while. You will see that now we have a date and we have a time of the day. And yeah, so basically, there's not much difference between the date and the measured time at this point. But later on, I think it will make sense why I did that. So, so if I, for instance, I change my measured time to the date instead of the measured time, I use the date. You can see it's still working. So far, it's basically, it seems the same, right? Okay, so the next thing now, I want to show the average temperature, and I would like to see also filtered by time of the day. So if I add this one, you can see I actually have two axes that I'm filtering by or showing it by. You can see that the graph kind of changed, right? And now it's just a huge graph. It's really big, and it just keeps on going. And particularly for this reason, having smaller, you know, is kind of a good idea. But the problem is that you can, as you can see, that if I pick a month, for instance, well, first off, you can see that now we actually get the 1st of January, right? And we get the different measurements, and we actually can see how the temperature is actually changing during the during the day. And as of now, all of the measurements are getting showed, like all the timestamps. So this is like 2:44 during the time of the day, and this is the 1st of January 2:49, 2:54, and etc. Right. So this is a really big um, line chart. So it kind of works best if you go into smaller pieces. Let's just say we only look through a day, and even through the day, it's actually really big. And that's because of we could call it the data that's coming in. The resolution of the data is really small, and maybe for what we need it for, it doesn't have to be that small. So we could actually we can reduce it so it doesn't show all of the time measurement. Maybe we can do a one for the average temperature per hour, or maybe we can do average temperature per minute, or something similar to that. So depending on what we want to use to analyze the sorry, so depending on what we want to use it for, this line chart, what we want to analyze, is it how the temperature is going throughout the year, or is it what the temperature is, how it goes throughout the month? We can change it. So for that reason, the next thing I will do, I will remove this time of the day and just keep it on an average for each day. And the next thing I will do, I could either duplicate this one or I can just make a new one. I'll press line chart. The good thing about duplicating would be that the size of it would be exactly the same. So if I press Control C and Control V for duplicating, the copying and then pasting, it's gonna be exactly the same size. So instead of showing the year, I could do something different. I'll just press time of the day. And as you can see, now we're getting the whole day from 0 roughly to 24. So that's the day. But right now, this is an average. So every measurement from the second called, no, the time of the day called 000, and basically there could be many counts, so many measurements. You can see actually, you know, This is all like on per second level. So we have one, and then we at some point we have many. So that means throughout the whole data set we have in 2023, it could be that we actually had the same timestamp. So that's why we have two measurements. So I go back to average. So if there's more than one measurement for the exact same time of the day, we'll get an average. But if I go and let's just say, well, this date, this is the highest we had. So if I press that one, you can actually see that this one is going to change in correlation to what we actually have picked there. So this is where Power BI really gets strong. So if we want to analyze this date in particular from the whole year of 2023, we can see that, well, the average temperature during the day of the indoor temperature is basically 24.18. But if we look through the day, you can see that during the morning the temperature is actually all the way up to 27. And after roughly 12 o'clock, temperature falls to 23, and then it kind of being stable around 23, 24. So this one, we could maybe start from asking some questions. The personal working at the news asking them, "Why- what happened this morning? Why is the temperature all of a sudden increasing that much? You know, if we compare it to the rest of the day, and if we compare it to in December, you see the temperature is roughly a bit stable during December. Yeah. So, but again, so what the next thing I want to do is I wanted to divide it. So for now, I think this is fine. But for the next video, I want to like make buckets. So buckets of time or measurement. So what's the average for each hour? Maybe every 10 minutes or something like that. So we get a bit. We kind of so every time we have like let's just say five measurements within 10 minutes we're gonna average those. So how do we do that? And then we will not get like this crazy big change all the time. We'll get a few measurement per time. We can actually do that. So that will be the next thing we'll do.